Most people don't live. They sleep. They go to work. They eat. They scroll. They sleep again. And they call this life. But it is not life. It is sedation. Nietzsche called it the herd mentality, not because people are stupid, but because they are afraid. Afraid to think. Afraid to question. Afraid to wake up. To be awake means to see clearly. But clarity is pain. It means realizing your job is meaningless. Your comfort is your cage. Your dreams were never yours. They were sold to you. So people stay asleep because sleep feels safe. Because sleep protects the lie. But deep down, something stirs in you. A voice, a tension, a haunting sense that something isn't right. That you're wasting something sacred. And that truth, that glimpse of awareness, terrifies you. Because if you truly woke up, you'd have to destroy the life you built in sleep. Comfort is the new god, and its temple is everywhere. Fast food, cheap dopamine, endless distraction. We are told, relax, you deserve it. Don't question, just consume. But Nietzsche knew, comfort kills. It kills ambition. It kills discipline. And most of all, it kills the will to wake up. Why? Because to wake up is painful. It means facing your mediocrity. It means confronting the fact that your life, your habits, your identity are built on convenience, not truth. So society builds a religion around comfort. And anyone who questions it is mocked. You work too hard. You think too much. You're being dramatic. But that's how sleep maintains itself. Not with chains, but with pillows. And you've started to question. You've started to feel the ache of consciousness. That makes you dangerous. Because if you keep going, you might actually wake up. You were not born with your beliefs. You inherited them. From school, from media, from parents who never questioned theirs. Nietzsche said, become who you are. But how can you do that if you don't know who you are? You've been told what to value, what to chase, what to fear, what to call success. And most of it is a lie. A man cannot wake up until he breaks the mirror society holds up to him. Because that mirror is not a reflection. It's a mask. Every choice you've made in sleep was made for you. Your career, your morals, your addictions. None of it is yours. So the real awakening is not spiritual. It is psychological. It is brutal. It is the violent act of tearing off every identity that was placed on you and asking, what is left? Who am I when the voices of the world go silent? Truth is not beautiful. It is raw. It is violent. It tears your illusions apart. That's why most people avoid it. They don't want to wake up because they know to know the truth is to lose the comfort of lies. Nietzsche knew this. The truth burns. It scorches the soul. But only in the fire of truth can something new be born. You fear the truth not because it is wrong, but because it demands action. And action means risk, change, sacrifice, destruction of the old. So you lie. To yourself, you say, it's not the right time. I'm doing fine. I'm not like the others. But you are, until you stop lying. Waking up means choosing pain, the pain of honesty. But that pain is sacred, because through it you begin to see. And once you see, you can never go back to sleep. Everyone says they're evolving. I'm working on myself. I'm growing. But if you look closely, you'll see they're just upgrading their distractions. They swap addictions. They call consumption self-care. They post about mental health and ignore their own breakdowns. Nietzsche would call it spiritual stagnation, movement without direction, change without consciousness. It looks like progress, but it's sleep in disguise. The real signs of waking up? You become more uncomfortable, more aware of your contradictions, more intolerant of your own excuses. Because awakening is not pretty. It is brutal. It is ugly. It strips you of pride, fantasy, and false peace. Most people don't want that. They want comfort with the illusion of depth. But life doesn't work that way. You either sleep or you suffer. But if you suffer with awareness, you grow. Progress without pain is propaganda. Don't be seduced by surface change. Look deeper and ask, am I transforming or am I just rearranging the furniture? In my prison, waking up is expensive. You lose friends. You lose certainty. You lose your old self. But what you gain is priceless. You begin to see the machinery behind the world. How people are manipulated. How they manipulate themselves. How truth is hidden. Not by force, but by noise. Nietzsche understood this. He walked alone. Not because he hated humanity, but because he saw too clearly. When you wake up, you can't unsee the lie. You can't play the game anymore. Small talk feels hollow. Shallow goals feel poisonous. The world begins to look insane. And in many ways, it is. But you must not fall into despair. That's just another trap. The point of awakening is not isolation. It is transformation. It is becoming the one sane man in a world asleep, and using that clarity to live with purpose, not bitterness. Waking up costs everything, but it gives you yourself. The child in you still believes in safety, in fairness, in heroes, in happy endings. The child keeps you asleep. Nietzsche said, maturity is to have regained the seriousness one had as a child at play. But most people never mature. They just grow old. They cling to childhood fantasies, that someone will save them, that things will work out on their own, that if they just wait, life will reward them. But life is not waiting for you, and no one is coming. The moment you realize this, truly realize it, you mourn. You grieve the child you were, and that grief is sacred because it marks the end of sleep. You are no longer a boy in a world of gods. You are a man in a world of chaos. And now it is your task to create meaning, to forge purpose, to carry the weight your younger self could not. Wake up. Bury the child, not with shame, but with reverence. Because only then can the man rise. Modern man doesn't lack meaning. He drowns in counterfeit versions of it. Career, status, likes, labels. These are the synthetic gods of our age. Nietzsche foresaw it. When true meaning dies, we don't become enlightened. We become desperate. Desperate for validation, for identity, for something, anything, to fill the hole inside. But meaning cannot be mass-produced. It cannot be bought. It must be earned in the fire of solitude, struggle, and sincerity. Most people never wake up because they fear meaning that costs them something. Real meaning asks you to change, to bleed, to walk alone. So instead, they chase shadows, busy lives, fancy words, beautiful lies. But deep down, they feel it, the emptiness, the quiet scream, the sense that their life is too quiet to be real. Can either keep pretending, or you can stop. Stop chasing meaning like a product, and start becoming someone worthy of it. Because meaning isn't found, it's forged. Thinking is not just difficult, it is dangerous. Real thinking threatens your entire life structure. It questions your beliefs, your job, your friends, your habits. And that's why most people avoid it. They confuse thought with consumption. Watching, scrolling, mimicking. But thinking? That is rebellion. Nietzsche was feared, not because he told people what to think, but because he taught them how to think. He knew, once a man begins thinking for himself, he becomes untouchable. He's no longer moved by slogans, no longer loyal to crowds. He becomes an individual, the most terrifying thing in any society built on conformity. This is why schools train obedience, why media trains outrage, and why most minds rest quietly in comfort. You want to wake up? Then start thinking, radically, ruthlessly, unapologetic ally. And accept the cost. You will lose belonging. You will lose ease. But you will gain your mind. And that is the beginning of freedom. People say, this is just who I am. But that is a lie. Who you are is who you've chosen to settle for. You weren't born lazy. You weren't born addicted. You weren't born weak. You became these things, one compromise at a time. And now you wear them like identity. Nietzsche believed the self is not a fixed thing. It is a battlefield, a sculpture, a question, not an answer. The moment you say, I am like this, you stop evolving. You become a character in your own lie. But here's the truth. You can reinvent yourself. You can break the mold. You can betray the version of you that's been asleep for years. But first, you must admit, you are not finished. You are not permanent. You are not free until you destroy the person you think you are. You listen to experts, to teachers, to influencers, to the crowd. But tell me, when was the last time you listened to yourself? Most people are asleep because they've outsourced their authority. They wait for permission to live, to speak, to change. Nietzsche warned us, you have your way. I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, it does not exist. That wasn't chaos. It was a call. A call to build your own compass, to stand firm in your own values, even if no one claps, even if no one understands. But today, independence is terrifying. Why? Because it means you have no one to blame. No guru, no system, no parent. Just you and your choices. Waking up means reclaiming your own voice. And when you do, you'll see the world doesn't need more obedience. It needs more people brave enough to lead themselves. There is a quiet seduction in living small. No expectations, no pressure, no risk of failure. It feels safe, but it kills you slowly. Nietzsche saw it clearly. The greatest enemy of greatness is not failure, it's comfort. Most people will never wake up because they've made peace with mediocrity. They call it balance. They call it being realistic. But it's a graveyard with mood lighting. Inside you is a hunger, not for more things, but for more self, to stretch, to risk, to rise. But that hunger is buried under your schedule, your scrolling, your safety nets. Waking up means letting that hunger out, letting it scare you, letting it burn away your excuses. The world won't beg you to rise. It will reward you for staying small. But deep down, you know, you were not built to shrink. You were built to burn. What if you became someone your past self wouldn't recognize? Not slightly better, radically different. This is the essence of awakening. Not surface-level upgrades, but deep, inner rewiring. Nietzsche spoke of the Bermensch, the man who transcends himself, not by pretending, not by faking confidence, but by dying to who he was. Waking up is a death sentence for your ego, for your need to be liked, for your addiction to comfort. It means facing the mirror and asking, who do I need to become to live fully awake? And then doing it. Changing your patterns, saying no to old voices, saying yes to terrifying growth. Most people won't do this. It's too hard, too lonely, too unclear. But for the few who do, they become unrecognizable, not to impress others, but to finally meet who they really are. If you've made it here, you already know the truth. Waking up is not a moment. It's not a morning. It's a lifetime. It's the daily death of delusion, the daily rebirth of will. Nietzsche did not offer comfort. He offered confrontation. And in that confrontation, he offered freedom. You will lose friends. You will lose illusions. You will lose the sweet numbness of being part of the crowd, but you will gain something rare, yourself, fully awake, fully alive, fully responsible. And when you wake up, really wake up, the world will not look the same. It will feel sharper, heavier, but also more real. You will see others still asleep, and you will ache for them. But you will not go back, because once you've tasted real awareness, the sleep of the herd will never satisfy you again. Now you choose comfort or awakening, the dream or the fire. But know this, only those who wake up can truly begin to live.